This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wellthy CEO podcast.
Burnout isn't a badge of honor, and pushing through pain to build your business isn't sustainable. In this episode, I'm joined by Dr. Taylor Smeenk, founder of Empact Wellness, to talk about real root cause healing, not Band-Aid fixes. She's breaking down why so many high-achieving women feel exhausted, inflamed, and dismissed, and what to actually do about it. If your lab says you're fine, but your body says otherwise, this is your permission to take your power back. Today on the Wellthy CEO podcast, I have the pleasure to bring on Taylor to the show in studio. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to dive into this topic today. It's actually one of my favorite. And not going to lie, if I'm being honest, I probably need your help. And I feel like most women will probably be able to relate. But coming out of just having a baby, I'm almost 7 months postpartum, hormones out of whack, adrenal fatigue, all of these things. So before we dive into kind of the nitty gritty, I want to start a little bit about your journey and what drew you into functional medicine, because there's so many different paths, of course, that you could take in this realm. So, and like root cause healing, where did you start with that?
Absolutely. So really, I think it was planted as a seed really from not birth, but really early in my childhood.
Okay.
I have a lot of family history of physical disabilities, but also just broad spread medical issues. So I sort of watched different members of my family struggling. I saw the cracks of the medical system. It made everybody very frustrated. You're on like a handful of prescription meds every day, but you still can't get out of bed. Like, it just doesn't make sense. And so I started really questioning things from a very young age. My whole journey, sort of ebbed and flowed. And just as I continued to pursue my education, I started learning more and more about the different possibilities outside of the medical system.
Okay.
And that's really what brought me to chiropractic, and then through that found functional medicine.
Interesting. And did you have anything happen to you specifically, or was just like kind of circumstance that was around you?
I've had 7 concussions.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was a very athletic person.
Yeah.
So certainly have had my own gamut of more physical injuries and then the concussions. And functional medicine helped me substantially with concussion recovery.
Okay.
And then, yes, I have had my own issues, illnesses, like a precancerous diagnosis.
Okay.
That was sort of, it was one of those, it was a cervical cancer diagnosis.
Okay.
And they wanted, you have to get this vaccine. You have to go through all of these testings. You have to do all of these therapies. And the first question I asked was, I've been on birth control for 10 years. Could this be contributing? And of course they said no. But then I found a functional medicine doctor and got completely different information that was much more aligned with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that really was the embarking for you on your journey.
Yes.
Yeah. And was there at what point did you realize that you actually want to do this for other people, and helping other women? Because, I'll use me as an example. I've gone to functional medicine doctors, but it's never put me on a path to be like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Of course.
So at what point for you where you're like, this is my path, this is my journey?
I think that's really what it was in childhood, because I was always going to those appointments and I was just really witnessing and paying attention. And so if you had have asked me from in my childhood, even in teenage years, I would have said that I would do something in the sports medicine field more specifically. Okay. Yeah. So I always knew I wanted to be working with people. I just wasn't really certain what capacity.
What sports did you play?
hockey, basketball, soccer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like literally like all the contact sports. I mean,
Yes.
it makes sense why you've had so many concussions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Snowboarding, dirt biking. Yeah.
And do you have brothers?
I have one brother.
Older?
Younger.
Younger. Interesting. But you still found yourself in, I mean, more heavily masculine sports.
Very much.
So what drew you to that?
That's such an interesting. I've never thought about that before. That's always just been me. Like my mom had me in dance.
Yeah.
And I always said, I want to play hockey. And she was like, I'm never going to be a hockey mom until my brother started playing sledge hockey.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the stands and I said, I thought you were never going to be a hockey mom. But everything changed with physical disability. It was like, well, this whole sport world opened up when sledge hockey came about.
Right.
And so she put him in that.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got to play hockey.
So interesting. So, okay, this is so not what I was even wanting to chat with you about. Who knew? But I'm so fascinated by this. So I'm going to ask you, how many years apart are you and your brother?
4.
4, and he's younger.
Yes.
So my brother's 2.5, just over 2.5 years younger than me.
Okay.
And I grew up, you know, I didn't play those sports, but I played soccer actually. And then I played rugby as well, like in high school when we got a first girls rugby team for like a little bit, lasted for like a year. But similar to you, like my mom put me in dance and in ballet, and I was always that girl that didn't have her full uniform. Like I'd hide like my tutu, or like, you know, you're supposed to be in all pink and I had white leggings. Like I just did not want to be in any of that. Gymnastics, same things. Like my ankle was like sore until we got to the foam pit in the end. And I was like the first girl that like wanted to go in, you know? So I can relate on that side of like having more of that tomboy is what you would think of like when you're younger, you know, but like that masculine energy. And the way that I've interpreted or like learned, it's having to do with the competitiveness of having the new baby and the attention that happens to be a boy. And obviously us as kids, you don't know the reason why a parent is giving the younger one attention. And so this becomes this like competitive that if you morph and become like them, you'll probably receive the same attention. I've done so much like energy work around this very topic, like of trying to understand like where my masculine energy comes from. Because it's not something as females that just happens. It needs to actually be developed. And most women tend to be more feminine and have to really work on bringing out their masculine energy, where I've had to do the opposite.
I cannot believe we're talking about this because that is so my journey right now. Like I'm only just feeling comfortable wearing a dress, like really embracing my feminine side.
Yeah.
And I've been operating in my masculine majority of my life.
Okay. So like, seriously, as you're saying that, I'm like, not at all what we were going to talk about today. But I think it's so interesting because, well, and obviously I didn't know that this is what you've been journeying on and going through, but in business, it serves a really powerful purpose, right? Like you need to have the masculine and masculine energy. The feminine is how actually we receive, right? Like bringing in money, bringing in clients, like you have to be in your feminine, which is a whole other topic. But similar to you, like I've had to work very hard, like even my nails at one point, I was like, okay, I'm going to make them more rounded, right? Because I was like wanting my nails to be shorter, but like even just being intentional on like how I sit, like as a woman, allowing the feminine to come in, you know? But it has served you. I mean, we'll bounce back. Obviously, you know, you've developed this masculine side, and now being a business owner, it has given you the muscle, right? To be able to open up business and to also be successful in business.
Absolutely.
So where you're at on your journey right now, have you started to make those parallels and to see that?
Yes, big time.
Yeah.
I think what's really interesting is I would describe that I have always had a very hard shell, even though people wouldn't really hard shell, weak boundaries.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So in a very masculine energy, but directed in not the correct way. Whereas now I've really learned boundaries are a masculine energy, right? That structure, those systems, that's all a masculine setting.
Yeah.
But that allows the feminine to soften.
Yeah.
And it allows you to really like embrace that.
Yeah.
And so it's so interesting sort of reflecting of how I feel so much softer now, but actually my boundaries are rock solid.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have that power to be feminine.
So one of my favorite topics is actually boundaries.
Okay.
I love boundaries. So I would love for you to break down what are some of the boundaries that you've had to set for yourself, whether that's in your personal life or in your business.
A big one is people pleasing.
Okay.
So feeling that I always had to make others comfortable. Really, I did a lot of bringing myself lower or making myself smaller to fit in or make others comfortable, instead of setting the boundary of like, these are my standards. This is what I'll tolerate, and I will not sink from that.
Right.
So like teaching people how to treat you, basically.
Yeah.
I think even I've noticed a lot of boundaries in my scheduling. And really interesting, I had a reflection a couple weeks ago that my schedule leaks directly mirrored my financial leaks.
Interesting.
And this was like a huge light bulb moment because I have such strict boundaries with my schedule in some regards, but then I wasn't accounting for all of these areas that I still had to do these tasks, but I wasn't actually scheduling them in. I wasn't setting boundaries for them. I was giving people open access to me.
Right.
And then, fitting it in where I could. And as soon as I had that moment, I said, wow, like no wonder there's these leaks that I couldn't even find.
Right. And so when you say leaks with money, break that down a little bit. Is that like, you losing clients because you're strapped for time? Is that just not getting your finances in order, like bill payments? Like break down what your money leaks correlation with having your time management leaks.
More so I would say it was a budgeting perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. So just, I understand the cash flow that exists in my business, but to not have structured time weekly to review what's going in and out,
Right.
and just sort of not leaving it to chance, but sort of in a way,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
sort of like, okay, I've paid all of these things. Like my bills are always paid on time. Everybody like is getting their payments. I have everything I need to operate, but I wasn't paying that really detailed attention to, all of the extra.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting and fascinating.
Yeah.
And I love that you actually do weekly. Most people don't do weekly, like even as business owners or entrepreneurs, like most aren't doing it. I always say you need to have a CEO day in your month.
Yeah.
Whether that's the 1st, the 15th, or like the last day, which I'm not a fan of the last day. Mine's on the 15th actually of the month, because I use the 1st as my growth day. That's a whole different thing. But, part of that CEO day is to exactly that, is to look at your money and pay attention to it. Money loves when you pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And building your relationship with money and understanding it, knowing where it's going, what it's doing. So I think it's fantastic that you do that on a weekly basis.
That's very new for me, but it's
Okay.
like, I haven't done that before, right? I
Yeah.
would have fallen into that category of most business owners don't do this.
Yeah.
And that was me, but I recognized that.
How did you recognize that? Did you hear that or learn that from somebody? Did somebody point that out to you?
It's always been a conversation
Okay.
with my board of advisors.
Okay.
But it was really more so me. It's that I would, look at my accounts and sometimes I would be like, where did it go? Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to not have that shock anymore,
Yeah.
I had to figure out what that line was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and not that I want to like bring this up about women, but women often have a good time spending money, and will not know even like how it's spent. Like what you just said, sometimes you're like, where did it go? And it's like you have all of this money, but then one day you like look and you're like, where did it go? Right? It's just like spent. And I mean, that's part of even the whole purpose of this podcast, like part of why I rebirthed the brand, formerly known as the Freedom CEO and now the Wellthy CEO, was because I kept having these conversations with women, especially now, because things are, you know, in the last couple of years, people in general, but more of the conversations I'm having with women is I need to make more money. And so many people, it's not even that you need to make more money. You need to know how to make money work for you.
Yeah.
And you need to understand money and the language of money. You need to understand how to invest. You need to pay attention to your money. Look at your finances. Look at your expenses. Know your expenses. And that's just like foundational 101, right? So that's why I asked you the question is like, how did you make this shift or this change? Because it doesn't always just happen where you're like, oh, I should do this, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like usually like an enlightening point. You talked about your board of advisors, and we haven't yet spoken about that you're the founder of Empact Wellness.
Yes.
So share with us a little bit what it is. And I know you've given us a little bit of your journey of bringing this into the world. So yeah, let's dive into that a bit.
Okay, I'd love to. Yeah. So Impact Wellness is a clinic in Burlington, Ontario, and really it is a collaborative team of different clinicians, and we all have one goal, and that is to empower individuals to leave our facility a better version of themselves. So I recognized really early on in my chiropractic career that I was trying to be everything for everybody. Sometimes patients would come in and sit on the chair and cry to me for half an hour, and I wouldn't even give them any physical treatment, right? Yeah. And there's questions about nutrition, and I was studying functional medicine, so that I liked having those conversations, but I was spread way too thin.
Sure.
And so that's when I thought, okay, I need to start sort of forming a team. And I was really careful with who I brought on. So the first two people I brought on was a naturopath and a psychotherapist. Okay. Because there's a massive component or a relationship between our physical injuries and mental health or energy, right? Sure. We store stress and trauma in our tissues. Yeah. So I thought that was very important. And then to fill in the gaps of, I can give you some nutrition guidance and I could tell you a couple supplements to take in our half an hour follow-up, but that's not my primary focus with you. Right. So to bring a naturopath on who has such a more vast scope in that regard, I thought was a very powerful addition to the team. And then it's really just spread and expanded from there. It's
grown. Yeah. And sorry, when did you found?
So I pretty much opened right out of chiropractic school.
Okay. Good for you.
Yeah, it really just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm so grateful that it did happen. And 2 years later is when I hired those first two team members. Okay. And the location that we are currently in, we're coming up on 1 year.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I know. I need to come out and see you because I come out to the West End a little more these days because my mom is a huge help with my daughter.
Wonderful.
So when I'm doing business out in the West End, I go and see her. So I need to come and see you. One of the things you talk a lot about is healing at the root, which I very much aligns with so much to do with my life, as opposed to treating the symptom. Like we need to get to the root cause because you can treat the symptom and it's just going to keep coming back and coming back. What would you say are top signs that you see? Maybe there's a commonality, maybe there's a pattern with women where they're ignoring or mislabeling the point of like there's something deeper that's going on inside.
One massive, really easy one is iron deficiency.
Okay.
Yeah, because as women, we bleed monthly,
right.
So it's common for women to be deficient in iron, and often it's just blamed on, my period's heavy.
Right.
But the root cause of iron deficiency is either an absorption issue or it's you're not actually converting the iron properly. So it's usually like either stomach acid, it's starting really up high in your digestive tract, or more so down low if there's any microbial imbalance, even if there's hidden parasitic infections, that really then you're not absorbing at all what you're eating.
And what would some of those symptoms be, possibly?
So a lot of fatigue,
Yeah.
Iron deficiency. Typically, people just feel really depleted, low energy. Also can be low mood. B vitamin deficiency is really commonly associated or would happen simultaneously with iron deficiency.
Right.
Acid is required to activate both your B vitamins as well as iron that you're getting from food and supplements. So if you have low, weak stomach acid, any H. pylori infection, then that is going to severely disrupt your ability to get those nutrients from your food and supplements. Even hormonal dysregulation, so like mood symptoms, can be largely related to that as well.
And what do you think, like, because I was actually going to ask you, like, what is one of the common things when you hear women that they're like, they're doing all of the right things, but they're still feeling fatigued or they're feeling burnt out?
Yeah.
So iron, definitely that can be one of them.
Yeah.
Is there another possibility that's kind of like a main go-to that you see amongst women?
Yes, there's a few.
Okay.
I think a big thing with women from an energy perspective is we're always in service of others. Sure. And women put everyone before themselves, especially mothers. Yeah. And then you can see a lot of even autoimmune diseases come up, like 90% of especially thyroid autoimmune is in women. And there is a huge component to the like energetic undertones of people pleasing and putting everybody before yourself.
I would very much agree with that. I feel like I'm in that phase right now. Just, normally I'm in the gym 5 days a week lifting. And then I have like 2 days where I call it's like active recovery. So I might do yoga or Pilates or whatever, but something that's still like moving my body. And I'm like lucky if I get to go to the gym once a week right now, So, and I feel it in all the different areas of my body. Like everything's in pain.
Yeah.
Because my body's like, well, what are you doing to me?
Yes.
Like, you're not giving me any attention right now. So very much I agree. I agree with that.
And there's so many layers to it too, right? Because if we're not putting ourselves first or even paying attention to ourselves even a little bit, we're not giving ourselves the right nutrients that we need. So then even if you are absorbing, you're maybe not getting exactly what you need from that. And then there could be issues with drainage, like if you're not going to the washroom every single day or not going to regularly, right? You don't have time to work out. You don't have time to sweat. Yeah. So you're holding all these toxins inside of you.
Yeah, which is like no bueno.
No bueno.
It's not good at all. Okay, so I want to ask you about this because to me, you brought up parasitic.
Yes.
And I think it's one thing that is very often overlooked.
Yes.
Like, I'll just give you a real example. One of my girlfriends, she was like, I am bedridden. Like, they went out, they had a beautiful dinner. She thought she had one too many cocktails at first. And the next morning, she just was like, I'm so sick. Like, I don't know what's going on with me, but I'm so sick. She's done, her and I both, like we've done so many different detoxes, like fasting, 48-hour fast, a 5-day fast, like to just completely cleanse out the body. So she's very in tune. Mm-hmm. And she said to me, she's like, I think I got a parasite. And sure enough, she went, did her stool test and she did have a parasite. It wasn't a horrible one, but still it attacked her body, for like 48 hours. She was like out. Do you often see that like most people, like is that common for you to see that like it's an oversight amongst people that it's not something they're thinking, oh, I could have parasites?
Yes, but more so in the chronic illness space.
Okay.
So that's a good example of like an acute. She ate something, she felt really awful for 48 hours, she had a stool sample, they found active parasites.
Right.
Generally, as humans, if you drink tap water, if you've eaten pork, if you eat sushi, if you've ever traveled, even if you've only stayed in Canada, but you've only ever drank tap water, you probably have parasites. Yeah. They just are part of our makeup. But is it like, what is your microbiome, right? Because if there's some in there, okay, we probably all have some, but is it actually causing a problem? Because the thing with parasites is they're very smart. And what they love to do is they'll snuggle up really close inside your intestinal wall, and then they just surround themselves in this barrier of mucus. So then they go undetected, not only by your immune system, but also by any testing. But then what happens is you have this mucus plug, right? Like if you think about a slug, it's kind of gross to think of. But imagine having a slug on the inside of your intestinal wall. No wonder you're not absorbing any nutrients, right? Because that layer isn't there for the nutrients to actually get into your bloodstream.
So do you think that we should be doing regular colonics?
Colonics, no.
Okay.
Not for everybody.
Sure.
I think there's a time and a place for those.
Yeah.
But I mean, we deworm our pets and our farm animals annually. Like I think that as humans, we should be doing some type of approach with that. I certainly do.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to work with somebody, especially if you're sick, right?
Yeah.
Any symptoms of like irritable bowel. There's also really different parasitic symptoms. Clenching your jaw, like any TMJ issues, skin issues, like unexplained eczema, rosacea, hives, things like that. Those are all parasitic related or can be parasitic related. Yeah.
So interesting. I love colonics. That's why I'm asking. I mean, if you've been following me on Instagram for a long time, you will see my foot detox, you'll see my coffee enemas, which are basically at-home colonics. It's the homemade version. And that's where I started. I was doing coffee, there were coffee enemas like at my house. And then I started doing colonics. And I show that like on my Instagram. People love seeing the gross factor.
Totally.
Like, I give you the trigger warning. So but I think, we don't realize, and you mentioned this earlier, and even more so me, like I'm wanting to actually go for a colonic now because I'm no longer pregnant, obviously, so I can start doing that. And I can't do a full detox because I'm still breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Right. So there's things I'm like, okay, well, what can I do to help move some of this stuff that's been stagnant and get my body to start like being optimized again.
Yes.
Right. And so, the colonics, when I was pre-pregnant, I was doing them like once a quarter.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I was doing, like for maintenance work,
Totally.
But, and no different than like when you are that backed up, oftentimes, even when you do a detox, like sometimes like you don't actually have much of a result.
Yeah.
Because you've got to like, what's the word I'm looking for? You've got to like release the dam, right? Like when it's like the swamp, like slow release.
Yes. So that's what I mean. If you're going to do a parasitic cleanse, it's really important to work with someone because there should be like a pre-cleanse protocol. Right. Usually I'll put people on a 4-week. We really have to open up your drainage pathways, and we'll use things like coffee enemas because that's awesome for your liver. Like coffee enemas really stimulate your liver to dump out all this crap they've been holding on to. And then, open the floodgates so that once you actually start killing the parasites, because the other interesting thing about parasites is they like attracts like, right? Or like if you say that they're bad, attracts bad. So they will just hold on to all the toxic crap.
Right.
And then if you kill them, it's like popping a balloon that's full of all this toxic crap. And you can have really bad reactions to that. And it's really uncomfortable for people to go through, like the worst hangover you could imagine. Right. So it's important to make sure that your drainage is open so that you're actually passing it all out as you're killing it off.
And having a binder.
Oh, binders 1,000%.
Right. Do you want to explain what a binder is? I feel like as I'm talking right now, I'm like, I feel like we need to explain what a coffee enema is.
Yes.
People are like, what the hell is a colonic? I want to start talking about gallbladder flushes, and people are going to be like, what are those? And the stones, like, so I'm like, okay, let's just back it up like a little bit. Do you want to explain what that is?
So a binder, a really easy example is activated charcoal, but there's lots of different variations. So like a zeolite clay binder, fulvic and humic acids, Even chlorella can be used as a binder. So basically it's these particles that attract and bind onto toxins. So when things are circulating around our system, before you pass it out, it's going to, pass through your whole body, through your blood flow. And that's why you'll get those, it's called a Herxheimer reaction, right? Or even an alcohol, like a hangover. Essentially, that's what that is you drink alcohol, your body converts it into a toxin.
Right.
That passes all through your body until it gets converted again and then eliminated.
Right.
And so a binder would bind on to that toxic compound, which makes it a bigger molecule. So then it actually can't pass into your bloodstream and it just gets excreted out through your stool or your sweat or your urine.
So not that I feel like we're in the era of like 0% alcohol these days, which is nice to see. I love my wine, which in some ways is fermented poison. I do recognize that, but I am Italian. And so, wine is definitely, I'm never going to not have it at some point, like when I was pregnant, obviously did not. So like I have no issues and I go on many different, I told you, fasting and detoxes where like I'm having no caffeine, no alcohol at all. But activated charcoal, my whole point in sharing that is activated charcoal, like if you know that you were going to be like, I don't know, at an event or having one too many, which you shouldn't, but if you are, I would actually used to take activated charcoal when I got home. I used to take Advil, which is so bad. But I used to take Advil before I would go to sleep to try to help make sure I don't wake up with a hangover. Then I got a lot smarter because Advil is one of the worst things you can put into your body. Like if you want to go down a rabbit hole, and we won't make this whole conversation about Advil, but it is mind blowing how it destroys your gut. Like talk about leaky gut. And it is so hard to repair it. Like I have major issues because of the amount of Advil I've taken over the years. And I get wicked migraines. And the only thing that works is Advil. And by works, I mean I would take sometimes 3 to 10 of the amber ones.
Wow.
So like these are the migraine, it's the highest dose ones. And I would take like 3 at a time, multiple times in the day.
Wow.
Just to try to get the pain to subside. So when I was pregnant, one of the things, again, I was studying further. I already knew I can't remember his name offhand right now. He's Gundy, Dr. Gundy. Who is huge on, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank right now? What is the word I'm looking for?
Lectins?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I want to say legumes. I'm like, that is not right.
Well, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
But legumes are lectins.
Yes.
But lectins is the word I'm looking for. And I love him. And I could talk about lectins literally. That could be a whole episode in of itself. Like I should probably have you back and we could just talk about that because you said nutrition, you were studying that too. So we could probably do that. But he specifically broke down how horrible Advil is and what it does in your body and obviously to your liver and everything. And so when I was pregnant, I was like, okay, well, obviously I can't have it because it can cause miscarriages. And it's something I think don't quote me on this, you guys, but it's something like around the 4th to 6th month if you are taking it. So like you're in your like 24 to 30 weeks, something like that. Like it can literally cause brain issues and all kinds of organ failure in your child. I'm also on this new path that like if you can't take it while you're pregnant, you should never take it. Like Botox you can't do when you're pregnant. You should never do it if you're not pregnant. Like there's kind of my new path forward. Really simple. Can I have it while I'm breastfeeding? Can I have it when I'm pregnant? No? Okay, I should have it never. And I am very proud to say I have had wicked migraines since I've given birth and I still have not taken Advil.
Wow.
Truthfully, I'm actually afraid of it because when you've eliminated a toxin like that from your body for so long after being so used to it, I'm afraid that if I were to take it, it could actually put me in the hospital. I had a girlfriend that it's something similar. I won't go into it, but she ended up being in the hospital because it shocked her system so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a little afraid to take it, and Tylenol just doesn't work for me.
Right.
And when I was pregnant, I was like, I'm just gonna have to suffer through it because my baby's worth so much more.
Absolutely.
And
I love that mindset.
Right?
Well, seriously, like, yeah. With a caveat of the sauna is the only thing I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
But that's
yeah.
not taking something.
No.
It's just a tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, but like there's so many things when you think of like going back to like the detoxing, you know, like you just can't expect to do one thing one time and that it's going to work, especially when you're trying to detox. It's got to be like slowly.
Yes.
You know, and so, but going back to even the parasites, I just find it something that most people like overlook and we just don't think about. They're like, well, I haven't traveled anywhere. And like, to your point, another thing too I've given up is actually eating sushi because I obviously can't have it when I'm pregnant, having the raw fish anyways. And more, one of my favorite, she kind of calls herself like the parasite guru on Instagram. I don't know if you know Parafaye. Do you know Mrs. Rogers?
No, but I'll look her up.
Yeah, and I'll even put it in the show notes so that you guys can look up her protocol. But it's amazing. It's called Parafaye, and so much stuff that I see about the parasites comes out from her account and about what like lives in sushi, like in the raw. Yeah. I'm like, I literally can't put that in my mouth anymore.
I know.
It's like. It's so gross for me. And if you are eating that, you certainly should be doing a parasite cleanse at least twice a year, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to be doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
I needed to pause just for a quick second. If you are loving this conversation and thinking every woman needs to hear this, you are right. So please hit that subscribe button, drop me a review, and help me flood the algorithm with real talk that actually matters. Let's get more women into their Wellthy era together. Your support means so much to me.
Okay, let me like wind this back a little bit. Let's just shift slightly. So many women are told that we have hormonal imbalances, that we have adrenal fatigue, but then there's no real like action plan. Like women are often told this and then it's like, okay, well, what should I do besides like getting more rest, right? Or like, I don't know, taking this one tincture. So I want to ask you, what do you think are some of like the tangible first steps to being recalibrating your hormones and then also healing yourself from being like adrenal fatigue?
Yeah, that's a great question. So again, I always go back to root cause. So I do really advocate strongly for testing. Like let's figure out, because adrenal fatigue, for example, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you're a mom, you know, and you want to have this fun, enjoyable life. You have a relationship with your partner. Like you have all these things, which all of those beautiful things can also come with stressors.
Sure.
So there's a very real reality of we all have stress in our life, and that daily, repetitively over time can burden our adrenal system. But we also live in an extremely toxic world, right?
Yeah.
We are bombarded with things we can't even see, like EMF radiation.
Yeah.
Our air quality is disgusting. The water.
Especially as of late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a shock. The water, though, that we have access to, the amount of microplastics and like, you know, these tiny things that we don't even see, even in our food system, the amount of pesticides, like we are just bombarded with stressors.
Yeah.
And we can't even always see them.
Yeah.
And we don't even always feel them. So it depends on the person and your own biological makeup, what stressors are affecting you personally the most.
Yeah.
And then, you know, with all of that comes inflammation. And so if you're inflamed, you're not going to be absorbing those nutrients.
Right.
Right. And maybe you don't have parasites that are, you know, in your intestinal walls, but there's still inflammation from all these other areas. And so actionable steps, I think, you know, something as simple as if you peel all of that back, like what are you putting in your body? Mm-hmm. What are you putting on your body?
Yeah.
And then what are you doing to regulate your nervous system? Mm-hmm. Are three really important things. Like they have all these grounding mats and these fancy technologies now. You can literally just go step outside and put your feet on the grass.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally, yeah.
And that brings so much calm. Like the actual frequency change that happens in our bodies is amazing. And that will bring down a lot of inflammation right away.
Yeah.
So that's something that's very tangible. And then being mindful of the way that you're speaking to yourself and about yourself.
Which is probably the hardest for everybody,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It is so hard. And I think even the way that you're speaking to and about yourself when things don't go quite right, right? We often will blame ourselves first, and then that's another hidden stressor. So I think becoming aware of this all can both be stressful, but it can also be very empowering because you have a choice.
Yeah. So what came up for me as you were giving the step-by-step is also the quality, if I can add to that, because I can hear people going, well, I drink, we'll use water. I love talking about water too. I drink a lot of water, and I'm like, it does not matter how much water. Yes, to a point, obviously you need to drink a certain amount of water, but it depends on the quality of your water that matters and where you're getting it from, right? Because if it's poor quality water, AKA tap water, you're not even going to be absorbing it. Never mind getting offset with the formaldehyde that's in water, all these different toxins, not just parasites, but actual toxins, that are going to change your composition in your body and your chemistry in your body because you're drinking chemical water basically.
Yep.
So it's you could be drinking 8 glasses a day, but not only are you taking in toxins, your body's not absorbing it because it's not actually hydrating.
Yes.
So the frequency of your water matters. Your pH level of your water matters.
Yes.
Drinking from glass versus from plastic, of course,
Yes.
And it's the same thing with your food. And you talked about what you're putting on your body. And I don't think that women, I need to look up this stat. It is something crazy that women are exposed to 65 different chemicals before they leave the house.
Yeah.
From what you just even in the bathroom alone.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Just washing your face.
Washing your face and all of the
deodorant,
layers, your toners and your serums and your cleanser and your exfoliant and and then your shampoo, your conditioners and all of the added estrogen. There's so many things that many people just don't even think about.
Yeah. I love that you brought up the water. I want to go back to that quickly.
Please.
So I think one thing about the water conversation that gets missed is the minerals.
Yeah.
And for our adrenals, minerals are extremely important for our body in general, right?
Yeah.
But you talked about you're not actually absorbing the water. Well, I think we all learned osmosis, right? We probably forget, but our body works based on osmosis, and it's this gradient. So you can drink the water that's going into your digestive system. It then has to be moved across a barrier, and that happens through sodium and potassium. So if we're just drinking water, but we're following what we've always been told, which is low fat, low sodium,
Right.
we're depleted in minerals.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, our soil is depleted in minerals, so it's not in our food. It's stripped out of our water. We're told not to consume salt, and we're just not getting any of it.
Yeah.
So one of the actual most tangible and best pieces of advice I give most of my patients, 1 crystal of sea salt under your tongue first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And under your tongue, not in water, because
Yeah.
it then absorbs right into your bloodstream.
Yeah.
Is it's so effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard of snake juice?
No.
And I don't know why they call it snake juice. It really should be called snake water because it's not juice at all.
Okay.
So many times, I shared with you before, I've done all kinds of different fasts, 24-hour fast, intermittent, 48 hours, 3 days, 5 days. I tell people when you should be doing this regardless, but anytime you're doing a fast that's over 24 hours, the most important thing you have to be doing is replenishing your minerals.
Yes.
Because you're just flushing everything out of your body. And most times people, when they feel woozy or they start feeling lightheaded or they start getting headaches, it's not because they've not eaten. Your body's should already be in ketosis. If you're not healthy, it'll take you a bit longer to get into ketosis, which is your fat burning stage, which is your body is storing fat for energy, for those that maybe don't know what ketosis means. And so when you don't feed it food, it goes into your fat storage for energy, which is ketosis. And so when you're in that fasting state in ketosis, you can go days, literally days upon days without needing any food. But you can't go days upon days without water. But the most important part of that is not just the water aspect, but it's the minerals that you brought up. And so I tell people, you know, if you're doing a fast over 24 hours, it's imperative for your health and like for your brain that you're replenishing your minerals. And so there's this concoction that has to do with like Himalayan pink salt, no salt, and a baking soda. And I think that's it. I think it's just those three things. But there's different measurements that you put in for, you know, whatever, a gallon of water, whatever you're drinking. And that is like the key to life.
Yeah.
So that's why I had a feeling you were going to say salt, because that's it's the main component that needs to be replenished as you're drinking water. Like, and it's wild to think that salt has that much power really for like what our bodies need. But
every single one of our cells.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like every single, yeah. So it's a way to put it. It's the truth, you know, but we don't think about it like that at all.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I love that idea, and something really easy, because we're all like creatures of habit. And usually if it's out of sight, you won't do it. Just take a little jar of sea salt, right? Rock sea salt, and put it in your bathroom. So that first thing when you wake up, you're putting it under your tongue.
Yep.
And you just wait for it to dissolve. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will do water, like even a pinch of rock salt with a little squeeze of lemon.
Yeah.
Drink that as a glass of water.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning and at night if you want. I think that's really.
Do you warm yours?
I love it warm. Yes. With the lemon for sure.
Yeah. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very soothing and very calm.
It is.
So I love that. And thank you for bringing back the water conversation. Like like I told you, I got to actually talk about it for a very long time, because our bodies are like, what, 90% water, whatever it is. Like we need it. And most people don't realize, they're just like, well, I'm drinking my bottled water. And I'm like, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Oh, me too. But
know?
Also to your point, I think it's really the absorption, right? Yeah. So if people usually their feedback to me is, well, if I drink more water, I'll have to pee all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a surefire sign you're not absorbing it.
Right. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hello. Yeah. And even still, like, if that is what's happening to you, especially in the beginning, like it is part of even just the cleansing, like the flushing, like your body needs to push things out too, right? So it's not a bad thing, and sure, it's annoying, but your health is the most important thing that we've got.
Yes.
You know? So what would you say are the top 3 things that you would say to women in their like 30s or 40s that they should be doing now to support long-term health, vitality, and hormonal balance?
Okay. I love that question. I think I'll stick number 1 with minerals, like really making sure that you're getting those minerals in your body.
Yep.
I think number 2, I'd say set healthy boundaries, like flex that muscle, learn how to actually stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself. Because that goes so far in so many ways.
Yeah.
Number 3, I would say don't be scared to eat.
Yep.
Get 3 really good, well-balanced meals at the bare minimum per day. And I do advocate for protein. So if you can structure your meals around protein, and your goal should be about 30 grams of protein per meal. Yeah. If you're only getting 3 meals a day, that's 90 grams. That should be like bare minimum for any woman in that age range.
And P.S. women, more protein will help you lose weight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I try to eat about 120, 130 grams a day. Yeah. And that means I'm eating 4 meals. And that's just what works for me personally. Yep. So you have to figure out what works for you. But protein is a non-negotiable. Yep. And exercise. Find something you enjoy. Resistance training should be a non-negotiable for all women, like at least twice a week. Yep. But I think as a low barrier to entry, just find something you enjoy. Whether it's a class, going for a walk, just do more movement, the better.
Yeah. And that's another myth too that I always love breaking down for women. I'm like, the heavier you lift, the leaner you will get.
100%.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Our bodies need muscle to burn fat.
Yes.
So none of this like 3-pound weights lifting to get toned shoulders. Like, that's not going to happen. Pick up the 10s, pick up the 15s, 25s, wherever you're at. But my rule is if you can do 10 reps and you think like you're Hercules superwoman, it's not heavy enough. Like, your last 2 reps should be at fatigue.
Yeah.
Like, you're pushing through, and then keep doing that. And then one day you're going to go to the gym and pick up those same weights and be like, I just banged out 10. Lift up heavier weights.
Yeah.
Because every single time you want that growth, and then you will start to see weight will start just coming off with the protein intake.
Yes.
Like, those two go hand in hand.
Are key for sure.
Yeah.
Progressive overload. Like, if you should be strength training, right? Twice a week minimum. But progressive overload, I always tell people, if you can do 10 reps on your 3rd set, your 4th do 12.
Yeah.
The next time you do that exercise, you're going at the next heaviest weight and you're doing 8 reps.
Yep.
And then like work your way back up to 12, increase your weight, go down to 8 again. Just consistently do that. Even if you're increasing by 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds a time, it's so important.
It is. And it's also so satisfactory.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It is so amazing when you get a new personal gain in the gym. You're like, oh, increasing my weight because I just crushed that.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. Very, very good advice. So I want to ask you, kind of in closing, I have what's called the wealth drop, like the mic drop. What is one piece of wealth wisdom? Wealth, obviously you're on the Wellthy CEO, spelling it differently, whether it's business, money, finances, and mindset, health, wealth, or wellness, I should say. So when you think of wealth wisdom, what would you pass down to the next generation of women?
My thing's going to be mindset focused. Okay. And money flows where your attention goes. Energy in general flows where your attention goes. Yeah. So if you are speaking to yourself in a language, like even if you're not quite there yet, you haven't quite hit those benchmarks, you have to pretend that you are. Yeah. Right? And speak to yourself and about yourself as though you are the woman that can hold that wealth. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And it's true. And your brain doesn't know the difference.
No, because if you're always saying, oh, I'm so poor, like one day I'll do this and I'll be rich, like you're going to stay poor. Yeah. Because that's what you're telling yourself.
Yeah, I agree. It's very, very important, powerful. So the last guest I had on left you a question without knowing they were leaving you the question.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. So your question is, what's one thing you know now that you wish you knew before you started your company?
The one thing I know now that I wish that I knew before I started my company is the power of discernment.
Break that down a little.
Okay. More so, I guess, the intuitive muscle of, does this feel right? Yeah. And then practically, what are the pros and cons? And being really confident in your own ground, regardless of what other people are saying.
I love that. I love that. And being able to trust yourself, like that intuition piece. Yeah. Self-trust. Yeah. Which builds your confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. Taylor, thank you for coming on today. So good to chat with you. Where can people find you?
Yes, it's so great to be here. This was an awesome conversation. I'm on Instagram at Dr. Taylor Smeenk, and my website is drtaylorsmink.com.
We're going to link everything up in the show notes as well, so you don't need to worry about spelling, but make sure to connect with Taylor.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time, lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.